let's talk a little hypocrisy of these guys right here. This is on that GOTV thing. It like, I don't know what the hell. It will repost weird stuff. Like, I don't know what the machine is of this thing. Anyways, I guess, 50 and Drew Barrymore are really good buddies and they're all over each other chronically. But guess what? They're friends. They're really close friends, like really close friends. And I don't think 50 would actually agree with these comments, mostly if it's another guy on him. But let's see. He's going on about, here I am keeping good company with Drew, who's hands-on everyone, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house, right? So what is part of the problem of Diddy, right? He touches everyone against their will. Well, what the hell is Drew doing? Let's see what she says about this, though, because I had a malfunction on my computer for some damn reason, and I have to redo this, and I'm literally annoyed. I'm like literally annoyed. She come out trying to pervert the topic to, she's been told to back off being touchy with guests. People have to warn me. Somehow this is a joke when it comes to a woman, and no, we're all bothered, okay? But do you think that this would be fine in the reversal? No, they've been having problems with it themselves. And no, I do not want some woman coming up and touching me. I don't know what the hell your point is. She's trying to use squeezing hands and all this crap. Like, she could never hug a person again. She could never hold hands with her friends again. And in this clip, all they're doing, like, no women's group does this. Okay, let me watch this. There's this video. It is totally fake. Nobody does this. We are not in women's groups sitting together with their hands on each other's lap, right on their crotch. Look at this. That has never happened, you guys. They're just being fake up in here. It's just being fake and trying to cause controversy to go see their stupid movie. That's number one. But Drew's like playing into it because she's such a predator, like on these shows. This is her quote. Okay. I think if we could all be more comfortable with physical touch, I would like that world. Were you not invited to Diddy parties? Maybe because you've been hanging out with 50. So I don't know. But do you think he's fine with that? I mean, with you, he is. He is a hypocrite. Okay, he has a double standard. Women can do it to him. He's totally fine. You can go down his pants. But if it's Diddy sitting there doing the same thing you're doing, he's going to have a flip out because he doesn't make sense, okay? He's totally a hypocrite, okay? He talks out of his you-know-what, chronically. He's like, we're for women. And then he started calling his ex some derogatory terms, which I called out because I'm like, you shouldn't let anybody go on like that. And then she slammed back. And then he gets his lawyers to shut her up. It's just like, what the hell? So, no, he's not on our side, and neither are you, Drew. And, yeah, I mean, that's really where the thing went. But when I was reading the comments, there's literally, like, victims in here talking. Okay, so here's Colleen. Unwanted touching by women has gone on for centuries. Guys won't say anything for fear they will not get touched again. Employees and employers are especially not to do this anymore. None of it. Wish they would learn. The guys did. Well, the guys haven't either, but Drew is one of the women that you're like, oh my God, I'm going to try to file a report on. And then I try, and then they're laughing and they think it's funny. And then, or in the case of the doctor thing, they assumed it was a guy because that's something that you only hear guys doing. No. And some men are gay and they're not into women and they don't want them throwing themselves all over them. I even pointed this out in the Michael Jackson case. I was like, he's a perp, but also he's a victim to other people. And I was pointing out, okay, so he's a perpetrator here, but in this other story, he's definitely a victim to this girl running up and trying to rape him on a stage. I go, how embarrassing. I actually am embarrassed for our gender. Okay, like that kind of crap. It's promoted and nobody should be doing it. But then you see stuff she'll be doing it with her friends. It's like 50 Cent is her friend. Yes, Susan. So they go, I don't think the average person likes to be touched by someone they just met. Well, they shouldn't. That's abnormal. And I hug my children and maybe someone I've known for a long time, but I don't like it if someone gets into my personal space. This whole Hollywood touchy-feely thing is a little strange. You betcha. Do you think it's appropriate for a lawyer to be hugging and doing all this weird crap with their client? I had that, okay? And no, I did not want that, and I don't know what the hell that was about. So, yes, we did have that. She's promoting him to do that to me against my will. That's what she's doing. And she's trying to say there's something wrong with us because we don't let Drew Barrymore molest us. Okay, so, no, she's not innocent. She's actually being vindictive. I think you're misreading Drew. She plays innocent, but she's manipulative and she's being vindictive here. She's absolutely, because they're telling her there's something wrong with her. And she's like, you know, people keep saying there's something wrong with me. But I think that we should all be able to touch everyone whenever. I have trouble watching her cross boundaries. Too close, too casual. I don't want to watch her because of it. It looks like a slumber party. I don't even watch the Drew Barrymore show for other reasons, but it's just not my type of show thing to watch. But she needs to realize that some of us people who want their personal space is because of childhood trauma of either physically or otherwise abuse, and it leads to trust issues. But we victims shouldn't have to come out and say, please don't touch me. It triggers a PTSD response from XYZ. She obviously got touched to hell as a kid, okay? So to her, this is so normal that everybody strokes on her and that's how she gets her attention. Because that shit is like crazy. Just think about your mama should have told you to keep your hands to yourself. There's even a song called that. I was like, oh man. Okay, so the guy did. You're comparing men touching our butts to women holding each other's hand in connection. Oh no, I have problems with some women holding my hands, man. But I was even saying on the clip that didn't work. I was like, they do this finger in the middle of my hand crap. Did anybody ever have this before? Of any gender doing this crap? I was like, no. The hand thing can turn fully perverted in 1 second. And you don't know where that hand has been. You could transfer something from that hand. What kind of crack are you smoking? From New Mexico. Drew, you are just more evolved than normal humans. Actually, she's more Neanderthal. Because before we could really communicate as well as we can today, they just beat them on the head and then just touch them. You know, that thing. This is how we communicate in heaven. Oh, what? Heaven? Are you dead? Are you dead? Or are you talking about in your bedroom? Because if you're talking about in your bedroom, she needs to say that for a bedroom and not for live TV and random people she just met. Yeah. So I'm not going to give attention to whatever that bullshit thing is up there, but I'm just saying. 50 Cent. If that was Diddy, okay. Now, I'm sure Puffy didn't do it. He's innocent. This proves nothing. Sarcastically. But it's totally double standards here when Drew Barrymore is like all over my arm and my back. Okay, so this is what his lawyers are going to say. God help us all. The lie detector test has determined this was a lie. Maury vibes. Yeah, I like how they're totally outraged. They were never outraged on the conduct of men on women. He thinks this is normal. Why would he think it's normal? Well, he thinks it's normal for a woman to touch this man right here. So why would he be outraged that I'm sitting here saying these men touch me as a kid? He's not going to have a problem. So him and his pals and everybody else are going to be like a bunch of punks up in here. And then calling women whores and sluts and everything else. And then Drew's going to play into it because that's who's going to protect her because it ain't going to be me. I'm like, it ain't going to be me. So who else is going to? Oh, here's the big, strong, scary man. He's going to protect me from any bad thing because I can't defend myself. Yeah, I mean, what the hell? What everybody's telling her is on point. She is going to end up getting allegations. I would not promote this at all. I mean, what's really different between these people? Drew Barrymore partied her ass off. Drew Barrymore did drugs. Drew Barrymore's touching everybody. There's not really much of a difference between Diddy and Drew Barrymore at this point. Other than she comes off as No, actually, they both come off like these like sweet, nice people in the public arena, but you could tell in private there's something evil down below. Like really. God, if you could get her like off camera, she's like all evil. She's like, that bitch. That yeah, totally. I'm just saying what I'm calling it as it is. Like there isn't a different personality here. But trust, I have a feeling, yeah. I was like mostly going on like that. I was like, I could not you have no shame. Like she has no shame posting that kind of crap. And we're trying to come out here to stop men from doing this shit to us. And now women, you know? Yeah, they're right. I've seen women do it too. I was just like, I'm uncomfortable watching these old clips of these women at shows doing crap like that where just randomly such as the Justin Bieber thing. Oh, the Justin Bieber thing. So the women doing it to them. Drew Barrymore's trying to promote the conduct that what's her name? Katy Perry and Jenny McCarthy did to Justin Bieber. And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually not feeling that thing right there. Yeah, like, yeah, because it was like uncomfortable territory because we shouldn't be acting like that. And then they doubled down. Isn't it funny? They doubled down. So Drew Barrymore right now is doubling down that she hopes that other people just let her molest them all. No boundaries. So, but we know this is the thing that's good about her stories. We know in her childhood she has no boundaries. None. That's why she's doing that. There was probably a tank of old men just groping her anywhere she went in those clubs. It's love. I'm getting love everywhere else, from the public, everywhere, in nightclubs, in a bathroom, anywhere. She's trying to pervert it that we believe in not holding hands with our friends and things like that, ever. We should never hug. Nothing. Don't even get near me. On the floor. I'm going to give you your bowl and you can go eat over there. Do not even look at me. Keep your head down. That's my relationship. What, do you have a problem with that, Drew? I would like to live in a world that we could throw Drew Barrymore in a cage. What's your problem, Drew? You don't like that? That's what I'm into. You seem to be into some other shit. Like, totally. It's like, but at least what I do is consensual. It's like, what the hell is that? I just honestly, I would never, I would be embarrassed. If she was trying to say she felt shame, she doesn't feel shame. She's been full of shit the whole time. I have to slap him down half the time. They make jokes over there calling him a psychopath. I go, he is. Yeah, it's not funny. That's sad. He should go get help. Actually, I need to correct myself. He's a sociopath. He's not a psychopath. He's a socio. He has some sloppy traits. Some sloppy traits over there. He has a problem with them. They're sitting there going total homophobe over there. But the thing is that Diddy, even if he was gay or bisexual, shouldn't be running around just grabbing people. That's the problem. Because I don't think anybody here would really care if like the guy is actually gay, but he's just not touching anybody. No, that's going on. These guys were like all over everybody. And then Drew's doing it and he has a double standard. He's fake, dude. You're fake. You're not outraged. You're just fake. You just don't like the guy. I was like, that's just it. You like Drew. So then therefore you give her a pass doing the same conduct on you. Somehow it's different. Why is it different? Why is it different? Why is it different? So basically what I lost here, which I'm really, really freaking annoyed, is this story that I was trying to read because I was reading it the other night. And I was like, and I just read it and it didn't, I don't know what happened. It didn't stop and then it like erased the whole thing. It was like 6 minutes of it only. And I'm like, please, dear God, don't make me read this whole thing again. But I am. I'm gonna probably just go through it without all the additionals to it because my voice is gonna go out. The Golden Age of Pimps. Okay, so this story was actually written at the time that Jay-Z, actually on the same day that Jay-Z allegedly raped a 13-year-old. Okay, so in the 70s, nostalgia, or simply a desire to vicariously live the life of somebody who's bad to the bone. Whatever the cause, the pimp, the AKA Mac Daddy, has strutted his way into pop culture. And they call themselves Diddy, Eminem, Dr. Dre, all those people. And they all beat up women and talk shit and then promote rape and, you know, these things like that. And then Versace suits, fistfuls of cash, and armloads of scantily clad women. Called the aesthetic ghetto fabulous. So now we can't say this term today, but this is 2000, okay? But everybody would say it, and then everybody got totally reamed for even saying it. Anyways, coming from lately, it's been making headway into music, film, and books. Hip hop heads have spent the last few months vowing, I'll be forever macking. And as they sing along with Jay-Z's crossover hit Big Pimpin'. In 1973 film, The Mac, which gave rise to the slang, has been a hot video rental for years. Flip on e-television video fashion weekly and you'll hear Stephen Baldwin naughtily calling the lush peacock-colored suit and British designer Oswald Boating awesome when you want to go a little extra sexy, a little flirtatious and flamboyant, woo, and a little extra pimpy. Movie audiences are seeing the harsher side of the life as Mac Daddy in the documentary of American Pimp. It is enough to cause people to make Marvin Gaye and ask what's going on. Vern L. Berlot, co-editor of the recent published book of the scholarly essay Prostitution on Whores, Hustlers, and Jones, thinks he has the answer. And we're using derogatory terms, prostitution and whores, and that's terrible, and it's giving a different interpretation of the pimp, who is regarded as the lowest of low in the past, and still in the present. And he's now, he's not now, no, he is now. It's making a comeback, how much we hate them. He's really in there, he's really in there and belonging. Turn on MTV and you'll hear Jamie, a roommate on the Real World New Orleans, crow, I'm lucky, I'm a pimp. That's pimp and positive, I got it all the way. Not pimp as in I have women who sell sex for money. A sense of the word. But they worded it weird, right? It's kind of almost like, oh, women are selling themselves, and then it's really human trafficking. So they didn't use the word human trafficking here. It is human trafficking versus pimp, and it's the terminology that they seem to have some confusion about. But it's an issue of reality versus fantasy, and American digging the pimp fantasy at the moment. Yeah, they all want to be human trafficking pimps. They always have. That's always been the American dream. That's been the American dream since the get-go, because they already enslaved women. That's where slavery comes from, enslaving women, human trafficking women. They just did not use the term human trafficking. When slavery came out, they enslaved women, and then they decided that they're going to enslave some people of color. That's where they came from, and you'll see how it came from. But it's so annoying because I'm like, why are black men still acting like a white slave owner? They just don't know any better. Okay, so they like the way it sounds. I'm a pimp. I'm a Mac. Oh, really? I'm a human trafficker. That sounds really app and cool. Says Too Short, a rapper who's fashioned a successful career recounting pimp tales on his album. Nobody's actually saying I'm a pimp and attempting to prostitute women. But it doesn't mean we're not saying that. We could be saying that. And it's not to prostitute women. It's to human traffic women against their will or under coercion, or out of desperation and grooming, mostly children. They have done that. You can't escape the harsh truths about the business in American Pimp, in which the subjects casually call their P words in terms that are usually reserved for female dogs and gardening equipment. Because we degrade women to no end because the white man degraded us to no end. So that's all we know to do is degrade humans because we're a bunch of sociopaths. The glamour of pimp life also faded earlier this summer when a roving group of men felt empowered enough to grope, poke, and stroke about 50 women after the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City. It's a misogynist, says William Eric Perkins, a self-described godfather of hip-hop scholarship, who's a research scholar at the University of Pennsylvania. It creates a culture, an environment where these kinds of attacks will actually be tolerated and condoned. That's why I said I got raped by 24 men before the age of 18. And that's why that happened. You see, you get them in a group and that's what they do because they're piles of shit. And these guys want to sit there and abuse us even after the fact, and they're piles of shit. But I just want to point it out, their hypocrisy, mostly with someone like 50 sitting there going, oh, you were a prostitute. It's like, well, if somebody was, I would be concerned that some rich guy is like literally pimping my baby mamas out. I mean, what the hell is that? He has no respect at all for women. None. So to say that he's for us, that's a fucking joke. It's not just a misogynist. The misogynist is the actions that they do from the conduct. They are male supremacists, and they seem to have a problem with this terminology. Do they not understand it? Are they idiots? Yes, they are idiots. Male supremacist is a guy that thinks they're above a gender, and they do, and that's why they keep using derogatory terms towards women and towards the gays. They wouldn't say anything bad about the gays if they liked women ever, but they don't. You gotta wonder how someone who makes a living in such an unconventional way could even become hip. And my thing is, when they said that, I was like, it's not unconventional, it's actually conventional, and it's actually part of the American fiber, and it's just them acting as a white man. So them going on about racism is hilarious. I'm like, oh, they just want to act and reenact this white slave owner with their human trafficking victims, but that's okay. So hip that videos by male artists don't seem complete lately without a bevy of women clad in G-strings and bikini tops, as that wasn't going on prior to that in the heavy metal scene. That annoyed the shit out of me from the get-go, and why I joined up in that. Like, not to be going on like that. So hip that Kid Rock, Snoop Dogg, and menswear companies like Sean Puffy Combs borrow the mink coats, the feather vest, and velvet suits that were once the pimp's fashion domain. And you know, something's going on if Madonna's appropriating the look by wearing a lavish fur coat in the video for her upcoming single Music. She's the only man in the room in this topic, and this generation is borrowing heavily from the blaxploitation era, and these are characters who live on the margin, who live outside of traditional mainstream culture, who challenge conventional authority. Oh yeah, they're challenging it, going, hi, we're rapists, we rape kids, we pimp women out, which is not different than what white men do and what they did, and they did it first. Okay, so as for these kinds of things in culture now of living halfway dangerously, when you can do that is through songs and music, finding borderline people. It makes you feel kind of daring. It's a cheap way to get excitement. You've obviously missed the entire genre of heavy metal, where they pretty much promote violence, rape, and we're out to get your children to rape them after school. That was pretty much the common song. You know, she's only this, into the night. I don't know. It's like Fly. Watch out for those Fly songs I was talking about. That wasn't heavy metal, but there's a long string of promoting raping children, and most of those guys actually got child victims as their now wife that they're still with, which is grooming, and you could be groomed forever. So for some reason, the groom victims want to come out here and justify going after children because it happened to them. The fact is, pimping and pimp business sells. Just ask rapper Too Short. He's putting out his 12th album, appropriately titled You Nasty, in September. 6 of his records have reached platinum status without the benefit of radio airplay. And as I looked recently, he has allegations. I was like, so you're going to like what he says in here. Or consider the case of Iceberg Slim Novels, Pimp, The Story of My Life, a short Bible of the aesthetic. About 5 million copies have been plucked from the bookstore shelves worldwide since it became available in 1969, according to its publisher, Holloway House. The novel will soon be made into Hollywood film star, actor, rapper Ice Cube. Too Short, 34, the son of 2 college-educated accountants, which that doesn't count for him, became fascinated with the life the way most guys do. He read Pimp and gobbled up the 1970s blaxploitation films like The Mac, The Willie Dynamite, and then after his family moved to LA to Oakland, he found himself in Sodom and Gomorrah like high school, where he maintains pimps and prostitutes were his classmates. And I looked into this. There's actually no allegations that I found right away about this, but that would not, you should not call them prostitutes. That would be child human trafficking. Okay? Child human trafficking, and human traffickers. That would be the terminology today. By the mid-1980s, Too Short was incorporating lessons learned from pop culture and real life into his lyrics. His bulging sales showed he wasn't the only one intrigued with the business. Like, known as the game, guys fantasize about, and launching into talk too raunchy to print here, that the alter ego of men, not all of them, but the large fan base out there, yes, to be a human trafficking rapist pimp. Too Short, who appears as a pimpology expert in American Pimp, uses gallow humor and funky beats to leaven his misogynistic tales. You know what? If this was about racism, this would be the most offensive thing to this guy, but it's okay on women. It's okay. That wouldn't have happened to you if you guys didn't treat women like that. They don't get it. They do not get it. And then complain that there's still racism out here. I'm like, yeah, well, first of all, you got to knock this shit out first before anybody would stop going on like that. But let's get this money. That's what I want you for. He raps bluntly in the song, call me daddy, call me master. Don't let me wait too long because life is too short. Compare that to Jay-Z's radio-friendly Big Pimpin', where the chorus goes, we're doing big pimpin', we're spending cheese or money. Big Pimpin', according to this song, is I'm just out having fun, enjoying myself, spending money. It's so bullshit, you know? Too Short. But if you were doing big pimping, you'd be making money because big pimping is making cheese. Wink, 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 wink. Too Short deflects any accusations that the current popular flirtation with the Mac instigates violence against women. It does. It does. I used to, my theory on some of this was kind of like, it's just a reflection of what's going on in the public. But yeah, but that's them, right? It's kind of like, that's them, right? It is them. And it's everyone. It's all these men. And women. There's some women out here that's like throwing our G and like pretty much act like a guy out here as a pimp. We were talking in the comments with somebody else here. There's some evil women out here. Yeah, there was some madams, and they want to sit there and run with the madam thing like it's some sort of, I don't know, like they're getting us back. Wow, they're getting us back by calling each other madam when they literally got women raped out here, and it's just a bunch of dumb rich celebrities and their stupid politicians who are a bunch of morons. He blames Hollywood's relentless peddling of sexual images. Yeah, but they really should push the madam thing because that's actually the human trafficking female. So, not songs glamorizing pimp. Okay, yeah, so he blames sexual images for the mentality of being a male supremacist sociopath, for songs glamorizing pimp life. Yeah, for incidents like that one that happened in Central Park. And then he has allegations, right? So now that you got this billion-dollar rap industry, people are assuming that we're all uneducated, and you are. And they're the ones that are corrupting society, and you are. And it's not the rap music. Listening to Too Short does not make 12 guys rape somebody. And it has. And the truth is, prostitution and pimping have been around much longer than hip hop. True, and it has. But what we're talking about is an ideology and a mental health issue, which is a crisis across the globe, of a bunch of narcissistic pile of shit white men, typically white men, but it's anybody, that have mental health issues, that think they're above a gender, that want to go out and rape people. Why would you go and rape people? Well, it's a kind of a mind of a Ted Bundy, right? We're debating the topic with this shooter guy, and they're already minimizing him to a poor victim because his back hurt. I'm like, that's not what happened. We're going to let that run for a while. I'm too annoyed by their damn breakdown of this. I go, a lot of us have our back problem. I don't have back problems, but a lot of people have back problems. Somebody had a problem before even that. And that's what happened here. And you're saying that. It started before even hip hop. It wouldn't be the music itself, But what are you saying in your fucking music? Why are you using a gender to degrade in your pile of shit music? How come it's not you? So a clinical professor at University of Southern California believed men began plying the trade sometime in 1920s, which is about the time that women got to vote, right? And women, oh, I should also point out, so in the 1920s, they also did something with the age of consent, which I don't have that thing right in front of me right now to go on about it. But men prior were raping children all the way to town. And there was like no AOCs, or they were really low. They were 12 years old. And guess who these men are getting accused of being with? 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, all this stuff. And I seen them with 13-year-olds. Like, what are they going on about? The bullshit, the other lies, okay? It was then that brothels, which until that point were often run by women. Yeah, so women were indoctrinated to uphold sociopath philosophy. Basically, they were basically put in this position. It's really weird. We could go into that whole thing too, but yeah, it was originally run by women, and then it became outlawed. And maybe it became outlawed because they got to vote. I don't know what happened right there. So I don't know what the legalities, I don't know why it happened. So I can't give an opinion as to why it became outlawed. Somebody here might know. And then because in 1920 we got to vote, right? So I was thinking like maybe because there was a group of these women that were trying to get men to stop raping children. And so then women took to the streets to earn money and turned to men for protection, which is just pathetic. So, but this is part of capitalism. So that's the actions here, because the men wouldn't let them work, or when they did, they were being, yeah, there was just a lot of stuff. So I'm thinking it has something to do with all that stuff. But by the 1970s, the blaxploitation movies introduced these anachronistic relationships to the masses. A decade later, 1980s comedies like I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, and Hollywood Shuffle sent up their image of the pimp. Danny Brown, a former pimp, now makes a living singing blues in LA, isn't impressed with either of the films' literary output. They didn't portray the real deal, he says, just disdainfully, in American Pimp, but the works did engrave certain perceptions about the Mac into society's mind. In black culture, a pimp was known as a flashy dresser who could make his way in the white world successfully. But in the white world, he was regarded as a vulture preying upon innocent young girls. Both things are true. I was like, both things are true. So he's mimicking the white man preying on young girls. And the problem right now is racism, actually in the middle of this as well. So for the white male supremacists do not want black men acting in the way that white male supremacists do. So the white male supremacists will go after the black men trying to act like them. They are mimicking white men. Exactly. They're mimicking Eminem. Okay, so they're mimicking white men, and then they're just acting it out, but they don't bust themselves. Do you notice it? They don't really bust themselves. They won't bust them rich ass selves. But they'll go after the black man. And that's our government showing its deeper thing about not only about male supremacy and their hatred of women, but their racism, because it's mostly dominantly by white men. So it'd be, I guess you could say it's inherently white male supremacists, but the black men acting out in that way, they're male supremacists, but they're technically mimicking the version of male supremacy of white men. So technically you could probably call them white male supremacists as well, because that's what they're picking up, right, in the white male supremacist culture. So they're acting out white male supremacy on our gender. Yeah. So anytime they're talking about women like that, yeah, F them. And they have no respect for anything. Neither image is true. And they were shooting up the place. I mean, what the hell? They were shooting up each other. They were doing all these things. So they're quite a hot mess, right? Neither image is true. No, both. who calls pimps hustlers nor American pimp is the notion that pimps are only black. They're not only black. I was like annoyed by this because it's like the original pimps are the white male supremacists in America, but we're not going back into the further history. But like in America, the male supremacists are white, and so they are following these people like Dennis Hoff, and then Hugh Hefner, right? So Hugh Hefner was the big main one. So basically, culture's looking at, oh, these men control all these women, and you can get all these women, and everybody wants to run a human trafficking ring. And then they labeled him the greatest pimp that ever lived. Too Short talks about a new generation of pimps who drive minivans and wear geeky clothing to avoid the attention of the police. No, their whole thing is to try to look like they're badasses with some pretty girl next to them and then complain about they're using them for money. I love that one. And yet, the lyrics on Too Short is him using women for money to make money. So he sees women as a vehicle and means to make money and to degrade us. And all these men have been doing that, and they're piles of shit. And then Eminem degraded his mom to no end. And the whole story with his mom thing is so depressing that I was like, oh my God, we all enabled and participated and are complicit in harming other women by just supporting that shit. I think it's one thing, because as I've been talking about my abusive parents did a whole different thing. His mom became supportive of him and stuff like that, but it was like a nonstop thing, right? Like in the lyrics and everything. And it wasn't just one woman. It was like he would take down all women. Every time he talked some shit, he was like degrading all women. It's not, oh, I'm just mad at my mom. Oh, I'm just mad at my girlfriend. Oh, I'm just mad at my wife. He's literally taking every single woman down. And then he's just like, oh, no big deal. And then, oh, I'm now changed. As he's sitting there hanging out with all the people that harm women. I go, you're a fucking joke, dude. And then his mom dies. And then it was just like really depressing right there. I was like, you know what? At least that wasn't me, because I then would feel guilty. But I don't think he has it in him to feel a goddamn thing. And, and then the whole time he's like using his daughter in this story. And I'm like, you know how effed up this is? But she's a possession. Mostly to a narcissist, and then them trying to sit there and try to debate that drugs are making these guys a pile of shit. I go, no, that's not what did it. That is not what did it. There's a lot of people out here that had drug issues, and they didn't go out beating up women or promoting that you're not a piece of shit misogynist. Like, what the hell? I go, that is not, you're not fixed. None of those guys are fixed. You're sober, but you're not fixed. There's a reason why you did the drugs, because you're not fixed. And they were sitting there, who was it? Him, Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. was really bad. His fucking mouth on women is so terrible, it's not even funny. And he sits there and he can sit there and pass off domestic violence on women because some guy gave him a job to be famous. He's such a narcissist, right? He's a self-centered brat. And he could go do that and sit there and toss off a gender as they're not important. And then sitting there degrading us for anything like these Me Too things or anything like that. But he's the one that went to prison. And that's funny. It wasn't me. Hopefully never. But knock on wood. But these conducts are so atrocious. And then Eminem gets busted, with his bullshit and a gun. And then he's going to come out and tell us how it is. I'm like, that's interesting. He's going to talk over me as a man. F you. You don't have any room to talk for me, dude. And that's with all these guys. How dare them? And then they come into a topic where all these women are getting harmed, and they're going to tell us how it is. And then the media sits there and goes and asks men how it is. And they're not asking women how it is. And somehow when a man tells them, it's somehow concrete. I've read so many comments on these cases, and it's so freaking infuriating that these men do not listen to women telling the story. And they're like, oh, I heard this story from this man or Cat Williams or whoever, whatever. And these men were not doing anything for us the entire time. It's just like, I don't get it. Like, the women could come out and they're calling them liars, and they know they're not liars. They want the right to do this crap right here. Do you think Too Short thinks that he's just being, insincere in the garbage that he's preaching here and trying to act like he's not involved in that crap. And then look what happened. This write-up was in 2000. At the time, Jay-Z's allegations are, and at the same time, oh God, I went through all the photos last night and some stories, and I go, oh my God, that guy is so guilty. There's going to be about 1 million more allegations. And he has a thing around children, Jay-Z. And I was like, oh, and here it is, right here. But the kids that were around him, a lot of them are celebrity kids. And I go, oh shit, no wonder. So maybe a lot of the allegations are not being heard originally because it's all on the inside of them. And it's not just it's not only solely or anything, some random people that run across them because they were fans or something. But there is a lot of inner kids and drug activity, and those things need to come to light. Because I was even talking about, I go, how did Paris Hilton get like that, high class freaking coke up in there? But she got it from somewhere. That's what I'm saying. I was trying to stress this point because unless she's cooking it up in her house, somebody else, and look who she's around. That's what we're talking about. There was a lot of stuff in that stuff. I started picking up pieces. It's like pieces, but I still haven't even gone through that entire thing. I go, Bo Phillips is a hot mess. We already know that entire family line right there, that whole thing right there is atrocious. That's why she's such a problem. So, and then she gets a problem, and then she gets a problem, and then she gets a problem, a bunch of problems. And I'm looking. So now it's starting to go back. And I go, oh man, now we're going to get into the portion where these guys are like kids. And then Jay-Z's right there. And I'm like, ew, what the hell? I don't know anything about those. Because in 2000, I had just done my recordings. And this is where my career actually should have blossomed. Because there was a whole thing right here. And so I'm paying attention to myself. I'm not even in that genre. So those are not people in my universe. So we have a spear over here, and they're in another universe over there. So I didn't cross paths with any of those people. I was like, none of them. I was like, no. We almost crashed into Eminem there. I was like, just by weeks, man. I would have had to be at that thing. Surprisingly, I didn't hear about it, so I didn't show up. That was actually one of those that if I actually heard about it, I might have went. Because it was at a time that I already knew, I knew about him, and then I was already a fan. So, yeah. But for some reason, no, I didn't. I didn't know about it. That would have been awful. That would have been awful. And it would have been really awful because he was really wasted at that show where I was looking at. Because I'm researching something else, and as I'm researching something else, I found them totally on drugs and wasted weeks after I was there. And I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what the hell's going on here. So when I went to go look at further stuff, I found a lot of people that are in question to their conduct here outside of that thing, not them. Some other conduct here. Actually, I should bring that up really quick. I should just put all three of these into one because this whole thing got ruined. So I was like, I don't even want to do any more of that thing. Okay, quickly. Here's the International House of Blues Foundation in 1993. Goals: promoting racial harmony through educational outreach, reestablishing art and music, curriculum in public schools. And this is a human trafficking a little boy cult. And these are the board of directors: David Dan Aykroyd, John Barranco, Warwick Carter, Gerald Busby from Motown. Is it Gerald Busby? I'm assuming it's Gerald because the way it's spelled. But anyway, Gwen Blackburn, Larry Fiazon, William Ferris, Ron Homer, Zoe Hazen, Henry Louis Gates Jr., Susan Warren, whatever, Patrick Lyons. Do you see this? James Rafferty Esquire, which is the lawyer from Sun. Frank Olivier, Kevin McCluskey, Janet Robinson, Sandra Spooner, Leonard Zakim, Isaac. Okay, and then we have Alexander Tennant and Isaac Tigret, who is the cult follower. Okay, now I don't know if all these people are in on the cult. That's one of those things that's like, I don't know. Probably what happened is they know about the cult, but they're thinking of it like guru, love, hippie, dippy. So they may be aware of it on that level, but I don't know who's part of the cult. I'm just saying that there's these people. Now, there's a bunch of them that died from this portion, but there's still people that are alive. And let's go down through this portion here. I'm not going to read all the names. I'm going to show you the names. I'm so annoyed by this. Like, I'm freaked out, though, kind of at the same time, because they were funneling money, and little boys and even girls, but mostly boys, were getting raped from here to India. And then I was getting raped, and there's a person in here that is related to our stuff. And I'm like, yes, that's the person that you would pay attention to, because they're the honcho. I'm like, they're the honcho of that clan over there. And I wanted to share. Okay, you'll see Gary Belts, because Gary Belts is the guy I was talking about. So Gary Belts is, see, to me, I didn't go to Gary Belts' house. They tried to send me to Gary Belts' house. I didn't go to his house. So I can't speak on Gary Belts other than he's related to a guy that I met from my job. And in no way, shape, or form do I believe the guy at my job has any connection to that other pile of shit in here, and that they would have known that. I don't believe they knew any of that. It was so weird. I was like, wait a minute. I think it's just accidental. Some like weird, just small universe thing. And because the people that were trying to get me to talk to was this guy and then some rappers. There's some rappers in here. And I go, I don't know who those predator rappers are. It's probably like 50 and Drew Barrymore. Like at the fucking Beverly Hills Hilton. They got in trouble because I told him what they were trying to do, and he was really pissed off, and he tried to act like he's so shocked that rappers would sit there and try to be perverted with me. You know what? I don't know what their intentions were, but they wanted me to join up for a drink at the Beverly Hilton when that's not what we were supposed to do right here. And it was inappropriate. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going anywhere to go drink with anybody at this moment. It's the middle of the night and I needed somewhere to go. So, the people that are involved in this, we have Magic Johnson, which I have a hard time believing that Magic Johnson would be a part of anything knowingly about raping kids. Okay, I couldn't wrap my mind around that one. He seems more like he got involved in this because he got lured into the cult, because that was the intention. So the cult wanted to take over public school. They wanted to take over everything, you guys. They want, as every religion wants to, every cult wants to. They all want to infiltrate government. They want to infiltrate everything. So they did infiltrate government in India. And when they were trying to do this extension globally, they started doing things like this. We want the people of color. Don't ask me what the hell that's about, but that's what happened here. So I think they're more of a victim in the case, but Magic Johnson and them need to know, whoever's alive in this whole thing, they were a part of human trafficking and raping children. And then there's other people in here that are guilty of that as well, but are not related directly with the cult, but directly related with some outside contact in the music industry. So they fit very good and well in this picture. And that group of people was well known. So I'm just asking anybody that put some dudes up in here that were around kids and being around kids and everything and being inappropriate and calling them baby groupies, that you would even have them involved in this bullshit right here is out of sight. Like, it's out of sight. That was fucking crazy. And they are not for free speech. They are very anti-free speech. As you see, everybody's putting me down. And mostly when I want to hear these stupid little white boys talk about how they got bullied their whole life. Shut up. So I was like, this whole thing here, I've been bullied for almost 50 years here. I had it going on for 30 years of this, okay? So a lot of these people, there was a handful of them. The ones at Motown, I was like, there was one group of them that I was like, I don't think so. But the other one, I can't speak for. But there's about 3 people part of CAA up in here. And I'm like, should I be worried about that? Maybe I should be, because it was the originators of CAA. I go, that means that they have a connection to the camp that I was dealing with. Yes, they would. I don't know how much. Then we have Tom LeBlanc. I don't know who that is, but he's like some mayor. And then it was all weird. And I was like, I don't freaking know, dude. That thing's weird. But then there was somebody here, part of a cover-up, and I think it was from the CAA people. There was somebody in here. I was going down. But you should see who the guilty party is that I'm talking about in this list right here. But there was, okay, we have talent agent here. We have entertainment, writing artist, that, the other, blah, blah. Yeah, I think it was one of the CAA people. There was another guy. What's his name? Where'd he go? I don't know which one it is. There was a guy in here who was pretty crazy. It could have been from up here too. I was looking at some of these people and then some of these people. One of the guys totally was one of the ones that helped fund that nasty ass movie Rockstar. And I was like, oh God, no. I was like, they did it to torture me. I don't think that anybody knew who I was. Like when I went on the set, I don't think there was any, I can't say, it's one of those things where it's like, it appears like nobody knew that. And the conduct that was on there wasn't like, being evil to me because of the producer or something. It was a lady that was working on the set, and she's a psychotic, like she's like on meth or something. And I had a big old blowout, like for no good reason. And so I was like, yeah, I don't think that would be related to any of this. But yeah, it's just weird. The whole thing in this is a little strange. So another strange thing that happened, like in this, because I didn't know the connection. I didn't know there was a connection to this. There's a lot of strange things in this, because the last time I went to House of Blues was because I got raped. And I had to go there to tell another celebrity camp that this guy did this with the Dawkins thing. And then Eminem and them played there like a couple weeks later or something. It was weird. I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on with this, but let me take a look here, because Eminem, every time that Eminem and Dr. Dre took their asses up in here, they funded a cult that raped some little boys. Okay, so you'll see right here, this is the cult quote. And help ever hurt never. It's the most lamest quote ever. And that is actually symbolic of the Baba cult. Okay, just if you guys didn't know that, it's like, what the hell's that damn comment? Yeah, so they have that, and then it kind of does this breakdown of like, we're totally trying to bring, people of color together in the music and blah 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 blah. Yeah, but this is a cult that rapes little boys, okay? And you should be concerned, because then they did a documentary in 2005 or four, and for some reason on YouTube, they want to remove my comments about showing what he said, his own quotes. It's not me making up anything. Don't ask me what happened. Their cult people came after me or something. And I don't know when it happened. I did a specific zeroing in on just his comments, and I showed his comments. His comments are downright frightening. His comments are scary. It's a person that you don't want around children, period. Isaac? He was saying that he believes that the kids got raped, and he was laughing, and he's like, I don't care if he murders somebody. I'm still doing all this with him. And I was like, holy crap. And then I go, anybody who came there after the fact, because at this point in time in 93, most people wouldn't have known all that stuff yet, okay? So I'm not even going at that. But then there are people that do. And the other thing about it is they did a video for this time period in 93 for this International House of Blues. And it is the most craziest crap I've ever seen. They're talking about children and adults being together and touching everything that they should. It's so crazy. It's like a Drew Barrymore comment. And it was already inappropriately sounding anyway at just as it was going. It was accidental. It's just worded really badly. And then I look at the background of the video and I'm like, oh no, what? And in the background, they have all these naked men in a photo. And I'm like, is this a joke? No, man, that shit. I go, you're going to tell me that these parents looked at this video and was like, this is a great idea to send my sons over here. Anybody, your daughters, anybody. I was just like, they're going to sit there and go, it's just art, you guys. It's just art. And they really rape children. And I'm just like, I don't know how you missed that. It's inappropriate. It is way inappropriate. I was like, I don't even know. But I guess because it's like a monochromatic type of painting. It had like 3 men naked, front, back, and everything. And it's like this huge painting. And it's this lady talking. And she's like, kids, youth, and adults, should touch everything and anything they can. That's literally what she was saying. And then it shows that. And then the next thing you know, all these victims were coming forward. And I was like, oh, I cannot even take that. I don't even know how the hell that happened. Yeah, because what are you doing in India, Isaac? Nobody's going to be for that unless they do it themselves. It's just not going to happen, you guys. Nobody's going to okay any of this conduct unless they did it themselves. It's not something you go, it's not a big deal. So that's what I outed the other night, but I wanted to make it clear because you know how the public is when they get information like this, they blame everyone. I'm telling you, some of the names that I went through, I believe that they're not part of this thing. At least at this point. There was nothing indicating what I'm looking for, and they look like innocent bystanders that got sucked into something where they think that it might have been a good thing. And then there's other people in this who are guilty as sin. And those are the people, and I'm trying to figure out which are those people because those are the ones we're looking for. The people from the CAA, yeah, one of them, I believe it was one of them, they got caught in a cover-up of raping some girl or setting up some girl and then saying that they were going to put her in a movie. Then they tried to do a full-blown cover-up and doing this whole other thing, and it wasn't even part of the Harvey Weinstein thing. And I was like, holy crap, yeah, here we go. One of the guys in here. There was like an extension of somebody up in here. And I was looking at each of the names. I was like, whoa, 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 holy crap. And then I believe these other people are innocent. So for now, so I was looking through that. Then last on this story for now, one night, now people might not know this story, so I'll kind of go through it real quick. So I chronically lived out in the valley, and I was living like on the outskirts of like Studio City and North Hollywood. That's mostly the areas I lived for more often than not for a long time throughout this extended period. And my perpetrator lived in Hollywood over the hill. And one day I asked him, I was like, oh, you still live over there? Because I don't like it. Because there was a bunch of like, the drug ring and just disgusting people over there. Anyways, so he decided that he's going to move over to the valley. Can you believe this? So he moves over to the valley and then he wanted me to go over there, I guess. Like he was trying to tempt me to go to his apartment. And then he's like, I moved to Studio City. And I was like, oh, I'm in Studio City. I had a mailbox there and everything else. And so I was like, no. So my workplace is in the area too, and I would always kind of go down there and get coffee at all the 7-Elevens. I would hit up like every 7-Eleven like twice a day. And I used to go to this other one on a corner. And so as well, and also to get my lucky lotto ticket, like my lucky lotto ticket, coffee and my lucky lotto ticket. So I would go over there, and one night, it was in the evening. This girl, the girl that's guilty in our story from this other thing in 2005, but anyway, I won't get into that. She'd be with me. She's like, oh my God, there's Tom Arnold. And I go, what? And I'm looking around for Tom Arnold, and it's not Tom Arnold, it's this other guy. I'm like, it's this other guy. It was John Goodman. And I was like, ah, I was laughing because I was like, that's not Tom Arnold. I was like, how do you get those two confused? Tom Arnold. Tom Arnold probably would have been really cool to just like walk up to and be like, hey, Tom, what's up? But John Goodman was there, and he was like eating a sandwich, and he was walking, and I go, oh my God, he probably thinks we're making fun of him because we're not thinking, we're just like laughing because I'm like, it's not Tom Arnold, dude, what the hell? And then he started walking, and I noticed, I go, oh, he must live down that little side street because he's just walking. He's not in a car. He was like eating or something, and then he walked around this thing. And I go, oh, that's weird. And it was like this side story that I didn't even, I've mentioned the story before, but I didn't think much of it other than I go, oh, I found out later that the perpetrator lived on the street there. I didn't know that. And I was like, what the hell? I feel like I'm getting stalked, It's like that feeling. It's in reverse. It's like, I don't even know he's there. He's the one moving here, and I go to all these places, and I actually don't know where he's at. And I go, yeah, the person I saw was him right there. Well, when I pulled up this video, guess who I saw in the video? John Goodman. And I go, oh, I hope no other things going on there. But definitely they know I'm sure they know everybody there. So I was like, yeah, because he kept saying, Rob Zombie lives here. And I was like, I don't even know what the hell. I don't know if it's like I have no idea. I didn't even go down there. I was referencing some other information for some other thing to try to locate some other information. And this came up, and I was like, no, because I kept refusing to go there. So then, apparently they lived by each other somehow. But they're all related, because if he's over there, he's in this video, and his people are here listed, then they all know each other. I mean, it's all that thing. So I was just like, please, dear God, don't say like anybody's stalking me through other people. I mean, I'm not gonna say John Goodman's doing that. But I don't know if John Goodman's in the cult. I don't know what the hell. Like, I'm looking at it going, that's really weird. And it's a hindsight. And it's even a triple hindsight. Because I didn't even know he was a part of this. But his name's not listed on this thing right here. But he's doing the video with Dan Aykroyd talking about all this. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I was like, I don't know. And I know that they live in Hawaii, and I know that Roseanne Barr lives in Hawaii. And I was like, I don't know, maybe they're all pals, I don't know. But somebody else here brought up the story saying that somebody went to their house with a lot of boys there. And I was like, I never heard that. But now that I'm doing a hindsight on that comment, I don't know if it's true because the people that it comes from. I mean, I actually believe that they came over and there was a bunch of boys there. I don't think they made that up. It was what they were insinuating with that. Like, I don't know why they were here because it's just a bunch of young boys. And I was like, you're insinuating he's into boys? I don't know. You know what I mean? But then I started reading another comment from him saying 12-year-old boys can consent type of thing. And I'm like, no, ew, that's why they're like this, okay? And then this happened, okay? So I didn't know they had this connection. No. So I was like, somebody else may be in the cult. I don't know. Because if I see this, you're going to question it. Just like if you saw them in Scientology, this is a different cult. It's worse than Scientology. Okay, so Scientologists are not out trying to murder people and their victims. So these people will murder you. I don't know if they murdered anybody in America, but in India, they murdered a bunch of people. And then also, Isaac said he would still follow him if he murdered a bunch of people. And I was like, okay, that's totally psychopathic. What the hell? Yeah, so that's Isaac. So he's the cult follower. And all these people got involved with them. I go, well, okay, if you were on this whole group of people and you heard those comments, would you stay in this group of people? You would if you were part of that. So I can't tell you anything further than what I'm showing you right now. I just know that that's the facts of it. And you just don't know which ones are the cult members and which ones are just innocent bystanders. You could kind of run through it, but it's hard to tell. Like somebody could seem like they're totally nice and loving, but that's what the cult was trying to do. They're basically a ripoff of the Bible. It's interesting. They ripped off of the Bible. That guy, he's such a fraud. He's dead now. But he ripped off the Bible and then he made the religion about himself. And then he turned himself into this like ridiculous guru guy that's spitting up golden eggs. It was so fake. And I ran across his stuff in 2004, maybe. Maybe it was in 2004, like right when that freaking thing came out, but I didn't see the documentary yet. I went to the Bodhi tree and I found a book and I got the book and I read it one day at my job. And I was like, oh God, this is so annoying. If I want to follow the Bible, I'll follow the Bible. It's just a ripoff. So that's where it landed. And I didn't think it would come back. You know what I mean? It's just like a book. It's just a book. I read it and then I kind of toss it aside, but I keep all those books for reference, for educational purposes. And then one day I was on MySpace and I started like talking about all the gurus that I was like reading about. And then I went down this rabbit hole and I found all these victims, but it was on a different guru. There was a different one that I found out about first. And then it led me down this path here. And then I found out all that. And then I finally find the documentary and it went straight to hell. I was like, I cannot believe what is going on here. And then I'm even still uncovering stuff from the cult. So I'm going back and I'm looking now how active this cult is right now. Wouldn't be as active as it was here. But the fact that somebody got something removed is telling me that somebody still is doing some stuff. It made no sense. It made no sense because I referenced the video that's on YouTube, okay? YouTube has multiple copies of this movie. Multiple. And not people that actually own the copyright. They don't. So I think what happened was maybe what they did was they wanted to try to take me down, but I'm sitting here going, why would the BBC want to remove any reference of talking about that? Why? They did the documentary for education, right? And I did what I needed to do. And then it was so confusing because I was like, I don't know when this happened. I don't even remember when I put it up, but it was one night I just did a quick splicing to show the exact quotes because the movie's like an hour or something long. And I go, no, you need to hear what he said. You need to hear what he said. And so many people were horrified by what he said. And then I hadn't seen the video in a while. And I was like, where the hell is it? And I started looking through my archive and it's not there. I'm like, I don't know where it went. I don't know how it went. So then I found the link to the original video that I linked a long time ago because I did another video and then I referenced it and the movie was gone. And I'm like, so the only thing I could think of, and then the ownership to it is in Um, another country. It said, I don't remember right now. In some other country, somewhere over in yonder, like far away. And I'm like, yeah, but why didn't they take the other ones down? If they had a problem with the movie itself being up, then why didn't they take all that down, right? Wouldn't you take it all down? If you're really going on like that? No. So the only thing I could think of is maybe they tried to take me down, and the only way they could take me down is if they get that other movie down and claim this and then take that down. I don't know. I cannot tell you. Like, there's no real legitimate reason for it because the other ones are still up. So I could literally do it again, and then use somebody else's reference. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I'm like, BBC, do you have a problem with me? I don't think it's a BBC. I don't know. It doesn't even go to the BBC. It's like some weird thing. Anyways, I have concerns about that because that did happen. So I'm like, Isaac. Maybe Isaac did it. Well, Isaac could have put a complaint to the copyright people to tell him something. I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I don't even remember. I don't even know if I even got a notice. Like, they may have just done it. They may have done it quite quickly because when I'm thinking about it right now, when I first put it up, there was some massive, like, freaked out comments. They're like, what the hell? This and that. And what? Because they're shocking. They're very shocking. What Isaac said? Yes. And then it stopped. But I just assume that I'm not getting the viewpoints that I should be getting because this platform here is evil. So I just kind of ignore it. You know what I mean? It's just like, it'll drop off. And then, who's looking for that specifically anyway, right? People are not looking for Isaac. But, yeah, I don't know when it happened. Sometime in the last 2 years, I guess, maybe, or something. Yeah, it's concerning. It is. And the public needs to hear that. It's like, if you make those comments to the public on a documentary, why is anybody trying to cover it up, though? And it doesn't mesh well with having an organization that includes children. And you're the one that started it up. And that's your viewpoint. Oh, you know about it? It's totally fine. It's horrible. Whatever. He didn't believe it was horrible at all. You listen to his, wow, it's pretty frightening. It's just pretty frightening. Mm-hmm. So I figured that it was probably his naked pictures of men on the wall at his place. It said he was married. I think he was originally married, like before, gays can come out. So I don't know if he is on the, I cannot tell you, you guys. Anybody that would be okay with little boys getting raped, is going to have some major issue there. And murdering people. Yeah, because I put it up there. I go, and murdering people. They're like, I don't care if he murdered a bunch, I'm still going to go over there and still send him money and put money into organized crime. What they were talking about is the deep, deep, dark corruption of the cult in India and the government. It was so effed up. I was like, oh my God. And they were pushing away the male victims. Ugh, the story's really bad. And so I was trying to bring attention to it for about a decade. And I started going at Goldie Hawn, the people that were part of it. And so a lot of these celebrities have major issue with me. I mean, come on. They're terrible humans. They're terrible humans. It would be different if you're just ignorantly going at it. You know what I mean? Because when I read it, I didn't know anything about it. So basically, when I bought the book, I put money into his pocket. And I was like, I had no idea. And I feel, I don't want to be complicit in the harm of other children. And the more you know, the better. So you don't fund into, removing some kid's power in another country, mostly in somewhere like India. They don't have a lot of, agency over there. They don't have a lot of anything. Okay. It's pretty bad. Mostly when it comes to the topic of sexual assaults and crimes like that. And particularly with boys, and they were trying to dress them up as girls, and the whole story with this guy was just like, what? So how many people were part of that? Maybe all of them at a moment. I mean, I'm knowingly. It starts off like, oh, we're just guru new age. We do wonderful things. Help ever. What does that mean, right? Help ever. It's like I had nothing else to rhyme with never, so we had to go ever, never, help ever. You're supposed to always help people, and you're supposed to not hurt people. And yet Isaac is sitting there going, I don't care if he murdered people or raped a bunch of kids. And I believe that stuff is true. That was crazy when he said, I believe it's true. I was just like, this guy right here is, what the hell? And then you want to ask Dan Aykroyd, like, what the hell's your problem? Why would you be connected with somebody that was doing that? So at some point, I don't know if Isaac left the picture of the House of Blues. At some point, I was trying to understand his movement from the Hard Rock Cafe to the House of Blues. So he has money everywhere. Gary Beltz is like another investor type of guy. So these are the investors, and I was saying these are the guys you have to beware of. So the other person in this story right here is also another person that has money to fund. They're the funders, like, they're the main people, actually. And you don't hear me talk about that person much, but they're actually the puppet master in the camp. And that's where my one thing went to. My one letter went to them. I'm 1000% sure, positive. And somebody else. So it went to 2 people, I believe, when I was 16 years old. I don't know if that person was on tour with them. In 91, I can't answer nothing. I do not know because I did not meet them yet. I met them weeks later. And this guy was nowhere around. So it's not, I don't know. There's a lot of things that are unanswered, and I cannot put everything together at once because there's a lot of different parties, and each party has their extension of humans. But out of all the people in that group, this guy is the one that has all the connections. So this is the one that if there's anything going on, it's going to be through this person, and that's the evil human. So so him and Isaac, yeah, they know each other. So Gary, hell yeah, I'm sure. But I have a hard time thinking that the other guy knew anything about that. I don't believe that Adrian knew anything about that. It's too oddball. It's just the guy was like a random guy that used to come to our work, and he would talk to everybody. So it wasn't, oh, just me or, anything like that. And then one day, like, we just kind of hit it off because he was kind of cool. He's this cool older black guy. And, yeah, and apparently he did stuff in the industry, but he's friends with everybody, and I don't know why. He might have told me one time, and it was just like, I don't know. I don't remember anything. So then I was questioning if he was one of the guys from the Bahamas because he wasn't from here. I don't think so. I was so happy that I found his name, though, because I thought I was never going to remember his name again, because I cut him out after this point in time, because they tried to send me to Gary Beltz's house, and then these other weirdos. And I was just like, the dude's not even helping. He said he was going to, and then they start sending me some really creepy, these dudes, right? And he's ill, like he's ill or recovering from some type of surgery. I don't know. Maybe he had prostate cancer or something. I don't know. It was like some weird thing. He went through something, so he couldn't come into town. He was in another state, to my knowledge, and then he comes to town, he rides in a limo. So he's not like, I was thinking like maybe he just rides in a limo to seem cool out here, and then he goes home to his like pinto wagon. It's like, how do I know, right? Nobody legitimately had these connections. And I was like, I don't know why though. Maybe he's from Motown or something. Like, I really don't know. It was so ridiculous. He's like, I don't know why these guys be acting like that. These two rappers. It just like blew my mind. It's like, I expected, like, what the hell? You're asking me to go talk to some two rappers randomly I never met. And the first thing they want to do is go drink together. I was like, no way. He's like, I don't understand these guys acting like that. I'm like, they're rappers. They're rappers. Like, he was acting kind of ignorant. So I don't get it. I was like, I don't know. Either he's playing dumb or he literally is out of. I just like. I have no idea. It's pissing me off. But who are the two rappers? Who's he connected to? That's what I'm trying to find out too. That one too. But no, I don't think he knew any of this. That's why I was like, oh God. I was like, you be trying to set me up with that kind of shit? Oh, they were gonna like murder me or something up in here. I was like, I'm not caught thief. See, I made the right decision. All I know is I made the right decision because the minute that that story came up, and it would have came up because they would have asked me questions, Gary. So they were saying to go to his house because he has a studio in his house and that he'll help you. I'm a friend. Just tell him this, that, the other. And I go, oh, okay. And now Gary should know exactly who I'm talking about. So then, yeah. So he acted like he would know him right away from just saying his name. And I was like, I'm not going over there in the middle of the night. I don't know who the hell that freakazoid is. Like, he could be a total predator. And then, yeah, so what would have happened is he would have asked me what I've done. And the first thing that's going to pop up is that crap. And then I'm going to show them the music, and then it's going to be there. And then they're going to go, oh, I know. So it's going to turn into that. And then they would have done some evil to me right here. That would have been the end of it. That's why I have to be careful. People don't understand. The connections here are kind of scary. Like, you can't assume that just because some random guy from over here, how do you connect these two guys together? Yeah, right here in a most bizarre way, in a cult. In a freaking cult. Something created by a cult. Something created by a cult. And they're investing, I guess they invest because this is well, it's the advisory committee. I'm assuming all these people like invested money into this organization, and they're the ones with all the money, all the investors. These are the really rich guys, mostly. I don't know about everybody in here, but yeah, Magic Johnson was doing a lot of charity work at this time, and then I guess CAA was, which is scary, right? If you guys listen to the Harvey Weinstein story, it was news to me because I found out I worked on 2 Harvey movies and I didn't know it. And then now I'm finding out the CAA thing is possibly also another thing that I should be aware of, because when they were talking about it, I was like, I don't even know what that is. I never heard of it. I was like, because I didn't have to deal with it. And this is pre the story of Rose. This is from 93. And I was dealing with these people since, well, we met in 1991. So it's pre any of that. So I'm dealing with the original psychotics. And my story's much darker and deeper and effed up. And there's probably a good reason. I mean, beyond the cop thing, but the cops are involved, but there's a lot more in it, you know? And I'm like, I can't answer a lot of other things about it yet. It would have been nice to be able to talk to those girls, but nobody wants to be nice to me, and they don't talk to me, and they don't converse. So I don't know them, and that's it. So we can't like go, oh, you know what I mean? So I'm not here to get anybody harmed. I'm not here to any of those things. So I'm here to give information, and you guys probably know what I'm seeing or what that means. So that's why I'm putting it out. So I was like, yeah, this is what's been around me. So I just don't know who they are. That's pretty much the thing about it. I said there was all these business guys and I don't know who they are. Like, people don't understand. How am I supposed to know who they are? Okay, so I'm with them in the back areas. And I'm like, the only way I can get to know who they are is if I was talking to them, but I wasn't talking to them. I just know that they were there. And then there was only one group of people they told me about, which was or that I remember, I should say it like this, that I remember, which was CAA, which is the golf company. And I was like, yeah, they were there. And then there was other people there though, but I was like, I don't know who they are. That whole thing sucks. It does. There was no thing to try to do all these brand things at the time, like versus today. Like, if I was there today, you'd want to probably schmooze up with, all these people. But it was like, they kind of just like, oh, this is the universe right here. And that's them. And they're going to be talking to them. It's like, okay. And then I'm just sitting there. Like, it's really weird. It's just bizarre. Yeah, I would keep that shit unlisted, man. You guys see that now? You guys are going to see how wrong it is. You just put Diddy's face there, and it's like, with these naked guys in the back, and it's just like, oh yeah, we have the kids coming here, and all this, and nobody cares, and nobody cares, and nobody cares, and then they send their kids there, and then today they're like, well, we are totally shocked this even happened. It's like, dude, what the hell? Like, there's these signs everywhere. And they're like, yeah, but that's gray area porn. Like, what is that? Regardless of any of that, it's inappropriate. It is, like, so inappropriate. Mostly for, like, a video for the public. Like, it's a video for the public to, like, try to pimp off, like, this whole thing about diversity. And then bringing children, adults, and everybody together for music. And then I go, yeah, so they got me here for music and then touched the shit out of me. And that's what they were saying in there. They should touch everything. I go, they did. They really did, though. They really touched everything. Worded really wrong. Like, it's just what? Touch everything. We want all these kids and adults to touch everything. Anything and everything. And I don't know, but that's kind of what they did, right? So then when you find out about it, did y'all cover it up? Is there any more victims in this thing right here? Because I don't know. What do we do about this? What do we do? What do we do? All I could do is put it into the public, have people think about it, and you guys might know of other victims. I mean, I can't say much more about it, but it appears that the male victim portion got really pushed aside, besides me talking about this. We're all victims up in here, but the male portion got pushed aside, and it was pretty obvious. I would not let my sons go somewhere where there's like a bunch of naked pictures of dudes. Like, you wouldn't think that something might be inappropriate here for your son. Okay, so if you saw a picture and it was all naked girls and it's some guy talking, you're going to send your daughter there? Your minor daughter? And not think that something might be a little inappropriate here on any level? The comprehension for women, for that conduct happening to men is like, I don't know, there's like wires crossed or something. Like, they don't get it. Just think about it in reverse. Art, kids, it's art. It's just art. It's just art. It's just art. It's just art, guys. And it blurs that line, right? It's like, it's art, but then in reality, they did touch kids. They did. And that's what's present. That's what I'm saying. I go, I don't know what the hell with that thing, but it definitely should have been the flag to the public, but it obviously wasn't. And I'm just like, okay, I'm telling you, these guys up in here, I wouldn't call it, they try to call this like a pedo ring, and I'm having a hard time with this. So it's actually, like, even in this, what I'm looking at, there's multiple things going on in this. So it's a cult leader in another country that's into little boys. that wants to take over. He's okay, so he's actually kind of like what Diddy was aspiring to be. So Diddy mentioned that he wanted to be an African king that had so much money and power that then he can give back to people. Basically, so he has the power and control to be like a king in his own universe. And then he goes and he harms everybody in the universe, right? Because he wants to live his own personal reality of doing whatever he wants. So this is the same guy, okay, but he's in India. And so he has a dream of being a king and taking over a country and then doing all these things so he could be remembered forever. There's this thing to it. And then his narcissism, and he knows he's plotting these evil things. He knows he's spitting out an egg and trying to, get people to believe that he has magical powers. And then he's trying to get all the kids to him because that's what he's into. And then he too also brought in baby oil, or at least oil, some type of oil in his story in India. And so when the little boys came to him, he said he has to anoint them with oil and then he would touch them. Okay, so he used oil as well. So the oil has significance in religion, such as, anointing with oil and things like that. And that's probably in a lot of religions. I know it was brought up in the Christian thing, but also, in a lot of them beyond that. Different types of oils. They could be scented oils. They could be, I don't know, like anointing oils, just different types of oils, and they would use it in that fashion. So I don't know if there's any additional thing why JD is going in oil. But anyway, in the other guy's story, it did that. So the followers are getting groomed into that's okay and we should teach love. They're talking actually like Drew Barrymore, like you should be into what I'm into and you should let me touch you. It's all about love. So he's brainwashing, grooming, which is the same thing, grooming a group of people into letting them do this conduct. So then in this story here is other people that are into already raping kids or into being with children. So for them, when they're a part of this group of people, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter, right? Because they both have the same philosophy that it's totally fine to be with kids. So I don't know if they also join the cult or if it's just a matter of it's all good in the hood. So that's some of the things to question in here. So, then when you get into the thing with Diddy and all them, it's just a group of people that are fine with kids because then you see these celebrity parents allowing these adult men on their children and they're just getting passes. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. And when, Machine Gun Kelly was talking, he was actually talking about what he was picking up in the environment. And it's disturbing. He's like, yeah, everybody got a kid. I want a kid. How cool is that? I would totally do that kid. And blah, blah, blah. And all these celebrities. Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Going into this thing about it. So he's picking up what was already going on in the environment from way long time ago. So him being around Diddy, and if they had kids up in there, it's just like, yo, yeah, we're all down with this kind of crap. He's not going to have a problem with it. He was sitting there out in the open saying it was totally fine. And he wanted a kid. He's like, I would totally do that, Kylie. He's talking about her like that. But for some reason, they're not busted. Ashton's going on that way. All these guys were going on that way. It's all of them. So I wouldn't call it necessarily a ring as more as it's just a bunch of men trying to run a human trafficking ring on their own. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to define because it's just like a bunch of guys that want to have their own personal ring, but then they're just all hang out with each other. It's not like they're necessarily passing everyone around, but in some of these cases, yeah. But it's the general population. It's like the general population. It isn't like they're getting sucked into a cult, like this thing right here. But I don't know. It's hard to kind of define because it's everyone's problem. And so they're not going to have a problem with other people doing it. and then government thinks it's a non-issue, so then they don't take it down. They don't arrest the guy who's doing it. They're like, oh, we all do that. We all rape the kids, so it's not a big deal, so we're not going to arrest them. That's really where their mind is at. From government, yeah.